You're on the air with Florenza, your podcast destination for authentic conversations with a twist. So, grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and join me on this unique literary journey. Cheers! And joining us today is Dale Brown, a former U.S. Air Force captain, is renowned for his 29 techno-thriller novels, 14 of which are New York Times bestsellers. His works, including the Dreamland series and contributions to video games, are published globally in 11 languages with over 12 million copies sold. A decorated veteran and Penn State history graduate, he's also an active supporter of law enforcement, education, and literacy. Brown, a command pilot for charitable flights and a Civil Air Patrol missions pilot, resides near Lake Tahoe with his family, and this is just the condensed version of the bio. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Dale Brown. Well, thank you, Dale, for joining me on the show. And before we get started, as is my tradition, I like to toast to a successful show. There you go.
I'm doing Red Bull right now.
Red Bull.
I'm ready to go.
I better get myself in gear. Ladies and gentlemen, Dale has Red Bull. He has heard about On the Air with Florenza, and he came prepared. I am enjoying a white Portuguese wine that my daughter purchased for me. So as I say, it's 6:00 p.m. somewhere. So we have toasted to a successful show. And I want to start with, because we are talking about your newest release, and this is going to air in audio format, but I do have a cover of the book here with me, The Devil's Fortress. And this is a great, great, great cover. I am enjoying this book so much. Actually, let's start with this. We have a lot in common. You have the military background. I am a proud military spouse. My husband served 31 years in the Army. He retired about 4 years ago. So thank you so much for your service. You were in the Air Force, correct?
That's right. Yeah, I flew the B-52 bomber and the FB-111 bomber.
With your new novel, I would love to just jump right in with that. Your writing process must be quite intense for such detailed thrillers. Could you please share with us either a quirky or unusual habit that you put into place when you were writing The Devil's Fortress?
Maybe I'm kind of bored like that, but I just, it's basically a 9 to 5 job for me. I get going about 8 o'clock or so, start actually working at 9 o'clock, and I go until I'm pooped out. But my favorite part of the job is not the actual writing of it, but doing the research for it. That's what I love to do. And I love to put it in as much detail, especially the military stuff and the aviation stuff. But now with the Nick Flynn series, I'm doing more and more with the thriller stuff and spy stuff. So I'm having a ball doing that. I have Nick Flynn going all over the world. So I love to do the research for where he goes, the different places he goes. And I'm just having a ball with it. And I put in as much detail as I can, and then let the editors and let the publisher tell me, it's too much or what to do. But they rarely take any of that stuff out. I think the publisher loves the detail also. So I'm just going to keep on doing that.
Nice. Now, do you have an opportunity to travel to some of the places that you've implemented in the book? Do you just jump on a plane and say, you know what? I want to see what it smells like and feels like in this particular location.
I used to do that a lot. And, it took a lot of time. It took a lot of energy and money to do that. With the internet these days, do most of that overseas research on on the internet now. When I do the book signings, when I do various appearances and stuff, I love flying myself to to those places. And if it's in the U.S., I'll fly myself to them. But most of the overseas research now is done on the internet. So I think that's the fastest way to do it, and the best way to do it.
Nephew is a pilot as well, and he loves the adventure and the freedom of being in the skies and just being able to go where he wants to go. So I know that has to be thrilling as well.
It really is. The flying myself it's kind of a challenge because things happen. The weather happens. Maintenance issues in the airplane determine whether or not I can make it. But if everything works out, if I make it and I do the work and then come back, that's a really great experience for me. So I try to put all that information and that experience in the book.
Regarding your newest release, The Devil's Fortress. Now, you did mention Nick Flynn. So Nick Flynn, the protagonist of The Devil's Fortress, if he were to write a memoir about his adventures, what do you think he would title the book, and why do you think he would choose that as the title?
Well, that's a good question. It's Nick Flynn's. His whole background is he was in the Air Force. He was a special operations guy in the Air Force, and he got involved in a mission where he was bad things happened. I'll let my readers find that out from themselves. But Nick Flynn sort of got screwed by the Air Force, and he put himself out as a special operations guy. So he found a new place to do his thing, and so I don't know if he was going to title his book, it would be something like don't let him push you around. He found a way to contribute to his country and to his fellow military guys, even after getting wronged by the military. So he managed to fix it.
Devil's Fortress is a high-stakes thriller with a global impact, and we just spoke about how you do your research with that. If you could choose any location for the sequel to The Devil's Fortress, unless it's already being written, where would the story take place, and how do you think it would influence the plot line?
Well, I think it's already underway. Book number 33 is in progress now. It mostly takes place in the Pacific, in China versus Taiwan. But but I think if I was going to visit there, I would definitely visit Taiwan. What's going on with China and what's going on with different areas in the Pacific and the Indian Ocean and the Taiwan Straits. I think that's a serious problem for the U.S. and so I think we're going to have to deal with that. So I deal with it in the book, fictionalize it. But I think that's a big headache for the United States, and I think that we're going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And, I want to explore different ways that I think the United States will deal with it.
Do you find that you're looking at current events like, whoa, I imagine that would take place, but now seeing it is a whole different thing?
I love when that happens. It's so far not really with the Nick Flynn series. Deals mostly with Russian oligarchs and things like that. But I think with the new book, with what's going on with China and Taiwan, I think that could very well happen. But I wrote about the mostly military technology, weapon systems that didn't exist, definitely before Desert Storm, and I wrote about things like GPS and laser guided bombs long before a Desert Storm. So things like that, when they work out, it's great, and it's I do get that feedback once in a while saying, how in the world did you know about GPS guided bombs? But you do the research and dig around and extrapolate a little bit, but just do the research and put it in the book and just hope it works out.
Books often feature cutting edge technology. If you could invent a gadget for Nick Flynn to use in his next mission, unless it's a spoiler alert, could you tell us what it would be and how it would function?
Well, I'm not going to give away any information or anything. What I love doing with Nick Flynn, and I got this this obsession about wingsuits. And I had Nick Flynn and his team using wingsuits, and I love writing about. Yeah, there we go. I love writing about it. I've never used one. I would love to try it one of these days, but I was just obsessed with wingsuits, and I thought Nick Flynn fit in perfectly with it. So if I have him and his team using them all the time, I've got several technologies that I'm working on right now. I can't tell you what they are, but I'm having a blast doing it, and I think my readers will love it.
The Quartet Directorate operates in the shadows. If they decided to go public with their missions, how do you think the world would react to their past deeds? Would it be held against them, or will we just embrace them because of them taking on this new turn of mindset?
I think the world would be horrified if they found out about these guys and what they do and where they go and the enemies. I think the public would hate it. They would probably have the Department of Justice shut them down because they're unaccountable. They don't do what they want, and they do what they want. And I think the public would be terrified of that. So that's why they're going to stay in the shadows. And I think that gives them a lot of opportunities, a lot of leeway to do what they want. And I think now with, I'm not going to talk about the ending for the Devil's Fortress, but they had problems dealing with the devil, with the bad guy in the book, and I think they had a lot of trouble with them, and I think they finally figured out what to do about it. But it's I think the public would be horrified to find out about groups like this. I think groups like this, like the Four, they definitely exist out there, and I think they should stay in the shadows and keep on doing what they're doing.
If Devil's Fortress were to become a video game, right? Any type of video game, what kind of gameplay mechanics would you love for the developers to implement?
I think a real-time shooter type format would be great. I think that's exactly what it's meant to be. I think a first-person game would be good, but I think that you want to show the whole battlefield and have the different groups interacting with it. So you have the Four on one side and the Russians or the bad guys on the other side, and set them up and let them go.
The dynamics between Nick Flynn and Laura Van Horn, and that adds such depth to the narrative. If they were to switch roles for one day, how do you think they would handle each other's responsibilities?
Well, those two characters are very much alike. I think Laura is a little bit, she's more aggressive. I think that would probably be a whole nother character. She was the main character, and Nick was her sidekick, and I think Laura would be much more aggressive. She's really more of a take charge type person. She's an action person. Nick is more of he's a setback. He's a planner. He's a schemer, but he's not really an action person like Laura is. So the story would be completely different if Laura was the main character. I might just do that. I might actually do another series with Laura Van Horn as the main character.
Look forward to seeing how Laura develops outside of the role that she has. Now, the Raven Syndicate is a constant threat in the series. If they were to branch out into a legal business as a cover, just as a cover, right? What industry do you think they would be most successful in?
They wouldn't want to give themselves away. So I think it would be something totally different than the bad guy stuff they're doing. So they would be into something innocuous. They would be into software development or game development. But I think now the gears are spinning here.
See? Yes.
But Laura Van Horn versus the syndicate. Now, I think that's a terrific.
See, okay, I told you I'm good.
I have you as a co-author of this one.
I told you.
But Laura Van Horn and the syndicate, but she's battling not just the syndicate, but the other companies that the syndicate runs. I think that's a terrific idea.
See, there you go. Jot that down while it's still fresh in your mind. Love it. Now, if you could have a conversation with any historical figure about the themes in The Devil's Fortress, who would it be and what would you ask them? Dead or alive?
Question. I would definitely have it. I think the person I would like to talk with and sort of, just talk about his thoughts and his actions while things were going on. Abraham Lincoln would definitely be the guy I would love to talk with. And I think he's the kind of guy who you can sit down with and have a drink and just really ask him questions about not just his presidency, but his whole background and why he wanted to do the things he did.
Yeah.
That's definitely the person I'd like to follow around for a couple of years to ask him the things he was involved with, the country tearing itself apart, and how he managed to fix things.
Yeah,
that would definitely be the guy I'd love to sit down with.
The skills that we acquired as being children without technology and having to deal with everyday struggles. It doesn't matter if you were a farm kid or a city kid. There were just requirements for us growing up that we had to navigate. And it gave us the ability to be thinkers. I think that that's a lost skill, as is with creativity. I believe that's why we're such unicorns, because the ability to create nothingness or to create something from nothingness is so rare.
Absolutely. That's one of the greatest things about being a writer. It's a very quiet thing. You're by yourself. You're kind of lost in your own world, but that world is the thing that you created, and it's the people and the places. My novels, I try to mirror what's going on in the real world, but most of the time during the day, I'm in my own world.
Yes.
My world is not everything, but it's a space between my ears.
Yes.
But that's, other people might look at that and say, well, that's kind of terrible. You don't get out. You don't really experience life because you're in the back of the computer working away. But the world that I create is exciting, and it's changeable.
Yes.
And it's the people I create. I do outlines of all the characters and all that stuff, and I think I know what they're going to do. But the characters end up doing whatever they want to do.
Right.
It's you have to let them do that also, and that's the exciting thing about this job, is that you create a character and you think, well, I created you, and you're going to do what I say. That's not the way it works.
It is not the way it works.
They do their own thing, and that's the exciting thing about the job, is that the world you create, the people you create, they really do their own thing. I write an outline, turn that into the publisher, and he okays it. After that, I put the outline away and just start with the story. I know, because when you do an outline, you know vaguely what the beginning, middle, and end is going to be.
Yeah.
But especially the ending, I never really know what the ending is going to be. I know what direction I want to go. And that's the important thing about doing an outline, is that you have to figure out what direction you want to go. What actually happens there in the middle and the end is really up to the story.
It's up to the story, up to those characters.
You're a slave to the story.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you let them do their thing. And that's really the exciting thing about their, there's not the fame or the fortune. The characters and the plot based on the real world, but you really don't know what's going to happen until the very end. And that's the exciting thing about doing it.
Have you ever been so thoroughly surprised with an ending of a book that even you had to step back and go, I never saw that coming?
Always. It happens all the time. And that's the exciting thing about doing this thing, is that, like I said, I have an outline, and that gives me a direction to go. But boy, when the characters start going, and there's you mentioned the relationship between Nick and Laura, that wasn't in the original outline, but you let them do their thing, and that's exciting for me. It's exciting for the readers, and you have to let them go. And it's you never really know what's going to happen. I rarely know what the ending is going to be, even maybe a month before the book is due. I don't know exactly how the ending is going to be, and it's maddening for me, because it's due in a month, and I don't know exactly how it's going to end. But when it does end, the book is done, I'll step back and say, I never saw that coming. I never really knew what was going to happen. And it's, like I said, it's maddening, but it's exciting at the end, because I thought, well, that worked out pretty well.
It worked out great. Even I didn't see it coming. And that's the beautiful thing. And that's when you're a conduit of the words, and you're allowing the story to speak through you. And at times you just feel like a warrior, like you're just peeking through the curtains, right? Of your story. And you're just like this little,
exactly right.
Everyone else. Where are the listeners able to interact with you?
Yeah. Facebook, I think author Dale Brown, I think, is the easiest way to do that. And I touch base on Facebook all the time, and I love getting emails and responses back from the readers. So I think Facebook would be the best way to do it.
Okay. Now, as is my custom, I love to play a quick game of this or that. I'm just going to read two things, and without putting too much thought into it, pick one or the other. And some of these, as we've been talking, I already know which ones I think you're going to say, but I'm quickly realizing that you have the ability to surprise even in random stuff. So, time travel to the past or future exploration?
I think the future would be much more exciting. I mean, the past, I kind of know what's going to happen, and I'd like to hang out with my grandfather. Never really had a chance to do that. So certain things of the past would be good, but no, I would definitely love to travel into the future, find out what's going to happen with my family, great grandchildren. So yeah, I would love to travel in the future.
Okay.
And, absolutely.
Invisibility cloak or ability to fly?
I'm definitely into flying.
I figured that.
I'm definitely into flying. I'd love to do, I love airplanes, and I love, I've been flying for the past 30 years, but yeah, definitely flying. I think it's, I love to, I don't want to be in the background, or, I want to get in there and definitely the ability to travel, to go where I want, to be a bird. That's what I'm.
That would be awesome. Okay. Space colony or underwater city?
Some of the stuff about they want to fly to Mars, and they want to, colonize the moon and things like that. I really don't understand that. I would think it'd be more impressive and more practical to have an underwater colony. So I think that's the one I picked.
For two more. Mind reading or perfect memory?
Oh, that's a good one. I kind of be afraid to be a mind reader. I don't really want to poke around in other people's minds. So I really love interacting with people, and I think if I was a mind reader, it would be a bad thing because there's no there's no secrets happening. There's no.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't think I'd want to be a mind reader.
Let's do. Oh, this is a great. To speak all languages or play all instruments.
My dad tried to teach me guitar. My dad played guitar and banjo. He tried to teach me, and I really couldn't do it. I was into playing drums, but I just wasn't into it. So I think the first one would probably be my choice.
Well, Dale, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Florenza.
And this wraps up another episode of On the Air with Florenza. You may follow me on all social media platforms under Florenza Lee or via my website at florenza.org. Until next time, cheers.